turning circle here, and I'll just open it up a little bit for you so you can hear the engine go. Goes well.
Nice.
Hey, Weather Restoration viewers. So I'm going to take this car out again for another drive today because it's been a while since I've taken it out for a drive. It's a couple of weeks. I'll try and get it out every week or two, just depending on the weather. Today's actually a really good day. So I'm going to start her up for you. Not easy to start these cars. They've got triple 150 CDs on them, which are Zenith Strombergs, and they need a lot of choke to start. Otherwise, they just don't run. Not easy to fire up. So I'm going to fire up now for you because you haven't heard this car running outside of the car yet. We're going to go for a drive. We're going to take some drone footage as well. And I'll talk to you a bit more about the history of these particular cars. Alright, so this particular model, LC GTR XU1, was produced from 1970 to 1971 before they introduced the 1972 LJ variant model, which ran up until nearly 1974. The original LC GTR XU1s, not this one, this is one of the last ones, had 160 brake horsepower and about 119 kilowatts, roughly around that, of power. Which is impressive for a car of its age compared to its weight. Its weight was around just over 1,000 kilos curb weight, so very light car to drive with a reasonable amount of power coming from the 6-cylinder engine. And it's also got cool suspension all around, which was pretty much ahead of its time for cars that were being made that particular period of 69 to 70, 71. So it's quite unique for this particular model. Now, I'm driving up through the hills of Adelaide at the moment, but you can get a bit of a feel for how the car handles. It's beautiful. I mean, it's, you know, we rival some modern cars today because of the way that the suspension's been set up on it. And you know, you can lay down a lot of that 160 horsepower, but this particular model is 180 horsepower. It was one of the last ones being the CK prefix that I've been talking about. And with that, it had a reasonably recent power. I do notice with GMH, General Motors Holdings products, whenever they brought in different variants and models, they normally up the power by about 10%. So, a beautiful car on the road. It had disc brakes on the front, drums on the back, brakes pulled up very, very well. Had an extended VH booster on it, which was a big master and a big booster, big nut master cylinder as well, which really pulled these cars up really, really well. And one of the reasons why they perform so well in Bathurst, which is that famous race I was talking about in my last video. So, just a joy to drive if wherever you turn it. Obviously the car's steering and pointing in that direction, and it hugs the curves really well, and you can see I'm going through some bends now and really just applying the whole road to this car. Coming into a big turning circle here, and I'll just open it up a little bit for you so you can hear the engine go. Goes well. For a car that you could buy off of the showroom, it just had so much value for money. I think it did anyway. It was probably expensive back in its time. It was around about the $3,400 mark, Australian currency. And obviously you get a lot cheaper cars in that time for the money, but it's just the sheer driving pleasure that one of these cars gave you that I think would have been worth it. So if I was around at that time, which I was only very young, I would have bought one of these for sure. But being this age that I am now, I'm glad that I can dig it out of a shed after 36 years and bring it back to life and drive it. Beautiful car. This one hasn't been apart. Normally you find, especially these particular models, everything's been apart in them. They've been rebuilt once, twice, or they're going for their third restoration. This one I'm lucky enough to have found in that shed, so it's all standard, it's all original. It's got 85,000 miles on it, which is, in today's terminology for kilometres in Australia, it's about 120,000 kilometres, original kilometres. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go park up. I'm going to get the drone out, take it for a drive, and hopefully you can enjoy the city that I live in. So for a short period of time, this car actually had a V8 in it. It actually had a 5 litre in it, and it was driven for about 3,000 miles, even though it's got 85,000 miles on it. And the previous owner, who was the second owner, not the first, thanks to YouTube, the first owner has reached out to me. Well, his brother has. By the way, I'm still waiting for a response. But I've got some history from this car from the very first owner. He actually got married, and he drove this to the snowfields in Australia, which was a fair way away from here. It's probably about 1,100 kilometres. But he's got photos of it when he drove it here and drove it all the way over there with his missus, and also it's still got the original number plates on it as well. So I'm keen to see those photos, and hopefully if I can get back in contact with the original owner, the first owner, I'll show you what those photos look like. But the second owner put a V8 in, and he's the person that I actually found this car sitting in a shed with, and that was there for a little while. It was only for about probably would have been in there for about 4 months, and so the second owner actually had this car with a 5 litre in it for a little bit of time, and I think it was about 3 months, and you got defect in it, which means you're not allowed to drive it. It wasn't past re-engineering here in South Australia, there was a short period of time where you could actually put V8s in these, 5 litres in these, and get them past, but that was stopped by Holden's, of all things, GMH. It had a huge amount of power in it, and so the original running gear, which was interesting to say the least, because the running gear in it, holding a 5-litre engine behind it, wasn't built for that. So I was surprised that the second owner actually drove it for that period of time with this running gear in it, with the 4-speed and the differential that it had, even though the diff is an LSD diff, which is a limited slip diff. It wouldn't have handled the power for too long. But anyway, maybe a godsend. He got defected in it, so he had to pull that engine out and put the original engine back in it. And I actually went and bought that engine from the owner, as well as the cars as well. So there's some photos that you'll see now of that particular engine. But I did move that engine on because there's no way I'm going to put that back into this original car. Beautiful vehicle. We're going to get you some drone footage. So what's next for this car? Well, I've quite enjoyed owning it and driving it, and I will continue to own it and drive it for a little bit longer yet, but sort of in two minds about, do I restore it and how would I restore it? The paint's in pretty good condition. It's original acrylic Loader Ranger orange paint. If I was to redo it, it would get a respray, but it would be a closed door respray. It wouldn't be a rotisserie respray, because this car just doesn't need that. Doesn't need it to that extent. The body underneath this car is very, very good nick. So what's next with it? Well, I've got the front brakes that I'll need to put back on it, the original brakes, the original calipers. They're Gerlock manufactured front discs on this car with the disc brake assembly, and I've had them reconditioned. I'm just going to put them back on. I'm currently using standard ones at the moment, only because I had to wait to get these refurbished. There's a few other small bits and pieces that I want to put back on this car, but currently I'm in no rush to either keep it as it is or maybe give it a respray down the track, if that's what I want to do. I'd love to know in your comment section down below if you want to see this car fully restored, or if you want me to just leave it as it is, because you've got to remember, they're only like this once. So like, subscribe, share with your friends, get some more people watching. We've got a lot more cars coming up. There's around several cars that I've got currently out there at the moment that are getting some work done on them, so there's quite a variety on the way. We've got LJ GTRs, LC GTRs, XU1s, drag cars, you name it. Keep watching, plenty more to come. At the end of my street is the best beach in the world. Sitting in a Gulf, there's no surf here, plenty of great white sharks, but a beautiful beach.